So as a part of NATing, in this video, let's understand about the dynamic IP and port NATing. So this is part of a source NAT. Okay. So this is the topology that we have taken. All right. So if you see here on the left side, I have LAN zone where I have two user machine, one with the IP address 10.10.10.11 and the other device with the IP address 10.10.10.12. All right. It is connected to the Palo Alto interface 1/1. On the other hand, with the Palo Alto interface 1/2, it is connected to the a server which is acting as a means basically it's a Windows 7 machine, as you know. It is acting as an web server. All right. So as well as FTP server, we have an application here. Apache is running as well as FileZilla is running. All right. So basically, just consider that we have a server here in the DMZ zone, and and as you know, just to avoid time consumption, already I have configured IP addresses for the interfaces, as well as this zone configuration is already there. It's already configured, and also we have a route configured in the virtual router to enable a routing, means to reach from this network to this device, as well as we have a valid security policy to allow any traffic that's coming from any zone to the any destination. Means basically it can be this way explicitly. If you add, you can make this as a source zone and this is a destination zone, and you can add it. So just to create a simple I just created one simple security policy. Maybe I can show you, to allow transactions from any zone to any zone. All right. So now in order to understand the NAT, right? So in order to understand the NAT, let's create a NAT profile here in the Palo Alto Firewall. And as I said, this is a part of source NAT. So when you say source NAT, the source address will be translated. All right. So what we'll do, the expectation or the requirement here is basically this is the LAN, right? So this is the users from LAN, and this is the server in the DMZ zone. Okay. So whenever a user, maybe just consider this user. Okay. So when this user want to connect to this server, when his traffic is coming to Palo Alto, this particular device or the Palo Alto firewall should do the translation of the source address. Means basically it want to change this IP address to the translation IP, means whatever IP we configure, and it should take that IP as the source and to reach here to the server. All right. And the server will respond to that IP, and which means again it will point towards the Palo Alto. Then again Palo Alto will forward it here. All right. So this is what we are going to achieve. I'll repeat it again. Means when this user with IP address 10.10.10.11 as a source is sending or trying to connect with the server, this packet will come here with the source address 10.10.10.11 and destination 172.16.0.15. All right. So once it comes here, we'll be doing a translation here based on the NAT profile. Okay. And this IP will be replaced with the translation IP which we configure it, so that if we capture the other traffic which is going this way, the source will not be this. So the source will be the translation IP which we configure. Say for example, again, even if you are going with a dynamic IP and port, you can do it either based on interface IP, or else you can add any translation IP to the pool. We'll see both as well. If in case you're adding this interface IP as a translation IP, then you can see when the traffic is going this side, right? It comes here and this translation happens, and when it goes from here firewall to the server, if you capture the packet here, you will see the source address is this IP address, not the actual IP, because that's what the source NAT is. The source address translation is basically the source IP address is changed, translated. All right. So we can check with that. Okay. So as I said, it's an dynamic IP and port. When I say dynamic IP and port, you are not reserving one specific IP address to one user. Okay. You'll be either again, there is a two options. Either you can specify the interface IP, or else you can give a pool of IP address. Okay. So that whenever a traffic is coming, means say for example, now this device is coming, or this device is initiating a request towards the same server, it will take the available IP in the pool. Okay. If you're going with the pool method, or if you're going with the interface IP method, then it's taking the same IP. Okay, so it takes the available IP. That's the thing. It's dynamic. Okay, it will be changing. So there is a difference as like going with the interface IP as well as the pool. The limitation here going with the interface IP as a translation IP is, as you know, means it's a dynamic IP and port, right? So basically it uses only one IP as a translation IP. However, based on the port, it will be translating, right? So it can do, means theoretically it can go till 65,535, but practically we can minus some 1024 to 1048. So practically close to 63,000 sessions only you can establish with if you go with interface based, you can, because it would be exhausted, right? So if you want to have more session, more than 63,060 cases sessions, then in that case you can create a pool here and you can specify multiple IPs, so that any available IP would be considered as a translation IP. All right, so let's do it now. So first of all, I'll show you the basic configurations what I have did, as like the interface configuration, zone configuration, route, as well as the security policy. Then we'll directly get into the concept. So I'll repeat again, the reason why I have already configured the interface and zone is, as you know, we have repeatedly seen this basic stuffs in multiple videos in the previous order, right? In the previous videos we have repeatedly seen multiple times. So just to avoid the same things repeated, I have already done it, and we are getting to the concept directly. Like, means as this video is specific to the NAT, we are directly focusing on NAT profile. All the prerequisites are already done. Maybe for your reference I can show you what else I have done. Okay, I'll go to my Palo Alto. First point, I'll just start with the zone. If you see, I have two zones. Okay, one is LAN zone and the other one is DMZ zone. LAN zone, Ethernet 1/1 is part of it. It's very simple configuration, right? And if you see DMZ zone, I have ETH 1/2. All right, so this is connected to server. This is connected to the LAN subnet. Fine, and nothing more here. Then I'll go to the interface. If you see the same, so it's an layer 3 interface, ETH 1/1, and I have configured the IP address 10.10.10.100/24. Means it's basically as per this topology. Okay, 100.24. And if you see on ETH 1/2, again it's an layer 3 interface with an IP 172.16.0.100/24. All right, and so means it's coming under LAN zone, and the other interface is coming with the DMZ zone. Both are part of a same virtual router. Okay, let me go to my virtual router and show you. So this is the virtual router. If you see, both the interfaces are enabled in the route. Just click it. So this is the name of my virtual router. Both the interfaces are taking part in this route. I'll just click the static route. If you see, I have a static route pointing towards the DMZ server. All right, so this /24 network I have pointing towards the server. Means basically we have only one device, right? It's not, we don't have any switch L3 switch kind of a thing to point it towards that. So basically we have only one device, so that I have a route pointing any /24, means any IP towards the /24 I have pointed to this one. 1 minute. All right. And let me go to my policy. So if you go to policy, so I have a security policy defined here. If you see here, if a source can be any, and the destination is any, it is set to allow. All right. So it's very simple policy. Okay, it's very simple policy. When a traffic is coming from any zone, means any from any zone to any zone, allow it. Either it can be from LAN to DMZ or from a DMZ to LAN. All right, it's very straightforward, simple policy. I don't want to make more complex here. And one more thing, I think I made a mistake here. Static route, maybe this route means it's part of a world one. Okay, means I'm continuing this topology from my previous lab, so it's having some incorrect thing. Okay, maybe I'll just do one thing. I'll just put a default route. because anyway we have only one, right? Or else what we can do, we can specifically you can put here 172 network. All right. NAT. So yeah, sorry, it's my mistake. Means we don't need to have a default route also. Means, as I said, means I'm continuing this topology from my previous lab, right, where I have a different network configured this way. So at that point of time, a route is required because there were multiple networks, right? So that time a route is required. So this time it's not required. Just make sure that your interfaces are a part of this virtual router and you don't need to have a route. Okay, that's fine. All right. So thing is, as I said, we have already seen the this thing security policy as well, right? Now let's go to the main objective. So before that, I can show you if currently, so as per this topology, it's working good. And if I go to my this PC, all right, maybe I'll just open this. I'll just open this PC, and from this PC, basically this is a PC from the user machine in the LAN segment, right? So if I try to connect to this server, which is at the DMZ zone, it can connect. Maybe first I can show you by ping. I can ping. It's 172.16.0.15. It is supposed to get response. See, so basically from a LAN segment to the DMZ zone, it's working. Also, if you open a browser, all right, in a browser, if you can give the IP 172.16.0.15, so it's getting the response from the web server. This is the web server also. All right, maybe I'll just close this. So this is to show you that even before we have the NAT policy or the NAT profile, it's working. Okay, but there is no NAT takes place now. So when the traffic is going from here to here also, means when it's crossing from firewall to the DMZ zone also, the source is still, it seems to be 10 10 10 11. Maybe we can just go here and we can check in the monitor tab. Okay, under monitor, I'll go to traffic. So if in case you don't have a license, as informed earlier, you can check your session browser for informations, but make sure that you are checking it immediately here because it would be going very quick. Okay, so once you initiate any traffic, you just come here immediately and check it. All right, it's good to check for the live traffic kind of thing, session browser. So I'll go ahead to my traffic window, and here I'll check. So basically we initiated a ping request. All right, so let me just check if there is any ping. Okay, so this is a ping, right? So it is initiated from the LAN zone to DMZ. All right, fine. LAN zone to DMZ zone. I'll just click here, the magnifier, and I can enlarge it. If you see the source, right, it is mentioned 10 10 10 11. All right, and the destination is 172.16.0.15. Okay, so this is what the source traffic is about. But on the other hand, when you enable the NAT, right, so we'll be seeing this different, like so this is the response, right? This is the response. Even if you open this, see, this is the response that's coming from the web server for the ping. And again, this is the source, and it's making 10 10 10 11 as the destination. However, once we configure the NAT here, the IP will be translated for the traffic that's going this way. Okay, so we will not see the same. I'll just go here and configure. So in order to configure the NAT profile, go to policy. Under policy, go to NAT. Next to security, you'll be seeing this option NAT. Click here, and by default, you will not see any profile here. But at the bottom, you have the option to create a new profile, right? Just click here. You can add any name. NAT profile 1. Okay, and so if you have a tags, you can do it. So this is what I told you, right? If you remember in the previous video, we were talking about IPv4 to IPv6, 6 to 4. So this is what it is: 6 to 4, 4 to this is IPv4, and 4 to 6 and all. All right. So this is currently we are just working on IPv4 only as per our lab. Okay, I'm not making any changes here. So now I'm going to my original packet section, where here I need to define which is the source zone. Okay, as per this topology, as per my requirement, when a traffic is initiated from the LAN zone and it's towards the DMZ, then it should provide the translation, right? It should perform the translation. So source I'm mentioning as LAN zone, destination I'm mentioning as DMZ zone. Okay, destination interface is means at which interface it's going out. So basically the interface 1/2, this is the interface it's leaving the Palo Alto, right? So that's the destination interface. All right. Service, if you want to do it for specific service, you can have it. All right, as it is a lab, I'm just going with any. But if in your case, if you want to explicitly do it for HTTPS traffic, yes, you can do it. All right, fine. And if you want to add a specific source IP address, right, it's not only for the entire zone. Yes, of course you can do it for entire zone as well, but explicitly to any specific source you want to do it, yes, you can do it. All right, and the specific destination also, if you want to do it, you can do it. All right, so as it is a lab, I'm just going with the the open. I'm not specifying the source and destination explicitly. So the translated packet, this is the main info. Okay, so if you see, if you remember, we were talking when we were talking in the previous video, we told that I told that firewall, the Palo Alto firewall, is capable of doing both source address translation and destination address translation, right? So we have an option to perform both. Means it's capable of performing SNAT, the source address translation, as well as the DESNAT, the destination address translation. So in this video, we are looking about the source address translation, and within source address translation, there are three types. Okay, three type: dynamic IP and port, dynamic IP, and static IP. So in this video, we are explicitly looking on dynamic IP and port. So I'm just clicking here. Okay, and again, under dynamic IP and port, you have two more options, as like either you can do based on interface IPs, or you can do based on translated IP. First, let's go with the interface IP, then I'll show you how to do it with the translated IP in the same video. So now I made interface IP, which means that I'm telling firewall that use this IP address, means, or the IP address which is configured at this interface as the translation IP. Okay. So I need to specify the interface. So I'm specifying 1/2. So once I add 1/2 here, and if I click here, it will automatically pop up my 1/2 interface IP here. All right, click OK. That's it. So now I have created successfully my NAT profile. If you see, when the source is LAN zone and destination is DMZ zone, and it's going through the destination interface 1/2. All right, we made it to do the source address translation based on the method dynamic IP import. And again, within that, we have two options, either to do interface based or pool based. Now currently we are doing in the interface based. Once it's done, then we'll be going for the pool based. All right, so the required changes are done. We'll commit this right away. Click commit. It will take few seconds. Let's wait. So now once it's committed, if we try to initiate any traffic, right, when towards this web server, when it is coming till firewall, you would see source address is 10.10.10.11 and the destination is 10.10.10.100. However, when it is leaving from firewall to towards this, the same packet, okay, when it crosses the firewall to here, it will perform a NAT, okay, and the source address is translated, will be translated from 10.10.10.11 to 172.16.0.100. So the same packet, when it's going from here to here, you would be seeing source address as 172.16.0.100 and destination is 172.16, sorry, correct, the destination is 172.16.0.15. It's almost done. All right, so 99%, it's successfully completed. All right, so you can also what we can do, we can also capture the packet. We can capture the packet as well as we can. So this side I'm starting. Okay, issue here. So I'll just capture it once again, 1/1. It's loading. All right, it is started. Um, I'll minimize it, and what I'll do, I'll just capture this side as well, 1/2. Okay, I think it's loaded. It's listening. Okay, I'll minimize it. Then what I'll do, I'll just go back to this PC, and this time let's initiate a ping towards here. Also, let's initiate a HTTP, traffic. I'll just, so this is basically the PC, right? This is the PC, this one. Now what I'll do, I'll just open the CMD ping 172.16.0.15. I'm sorry, I have, instead of dot, I have given comma. 172.16.0.15. All right, so basically from this machine I'm initiating a ping here, I'm getting response. All right, then now I'll just go to the web browser, and I'll check my, if my web browser is working. All right, so basically the web server is working. I'm initiating a HTTP traffic, and it's getting the response from the web server. All right, so let me go back to my capture to see. All right, so this side, did it capture anything? Fine. So let's stop for here. Okay, let's stop it here. All right, so one is, first of all, we initiated both ping as well as this thing, right? 172.16.0.15. Okay. All right, so if you see, right, this particular capture is the capture that's taken from Palo Alto interface 1/1. Okay, so that's the reason. If you see the source, right, the source is still the client mission 10.10.10.11, and the destination, it's mentioned as like 172.16.0.15. Okay, so in the entire transactions you'll be seeing only these two IPs. So this is from the LAN device, and this is going towards the destination, the web server IP. All right, but let's see how it's happening here. I see MP. But I told, right, so when it crosses the Palo Alto firewall, basically it will translate the IP, translate the source IP. Okay, if you see here, the original source IP 10.10.10.11 is translated to 172.16.0.100. All right, but the destination is still same, 172.16.0.15. If you see the source address, it is changed, right? So basically this is what source NAT. Okay, source address translation. And in this video explicitly we are looking about the this one, dynamic IPN port. Okay, I'll show you again. If you see, so this is the actual client to 18, sorry, client to Palo Alto firewall. All right, so where it has the source address 10.10.10.11. Okay, this is the actual source address, but once it crosses the Palo Alto firewall, it IP address is changed to 172.16.0.100. Okay, so this is what source address translation is, and we have seen how it's working in the method of dynamic IPN port with reference to the interfaces, right? Let's now do it with the pool method. with the same dynamic IP input. Also, you can just go to your monitor tab and you can look here under traffic. Okay, under traffic, if we go to ping, right? Ping. Okay, if you magnify it, so I can just enlarge it. If we see here, the source is 10, 10, 10, 11, right? And the destination is 172.16.0.15. However, if we come here, this is the NAT IP it's telling. So which means that when it is crossing Palo Alto Firewall, the original source IP address is translated to 172.16.0.100. So this is what it means. Okay, and it's going to this destination. Also, if you see the reverse packet, right? Maybe I'll just close it where, so this is the reverse packet, one of the reverse packet that's coming from the other end. Okay. 172.16.0.15, but the destination is 10, 10, 11, 11. I think it should be the old one. Okay. You can also check in this one. Maybe I'll do, okay, we already have it, right? We can just initiate it. We'll go here in the session browser. Okay. So if you click any one, see, so basically, all right. So if you see here, right, the source is 10.10.10.11, right? It is initiated towards 172.16.0.15. So this is client to server connectivity, and this is server to client connectivity, which is the response. Okay. So this is the means yeah. Actually, this one, it's the request. Okay. If you see, the source is 10, 10, 10, 11, actual source information, and this is the actual server. But if you see here, this is the response from the server where it mentioned the source is 172.16.0.15. This is the web server. But if you see the destination, right, it's mentioned 172.16.0.100. This is the Palo Alto interface. So this is what I mean to say. All right. Fine. Then now we can go to policy. So let's go back to our NAT profile. This time, instead of going with this interface, let's go with um, here. Okay, interface address. Still, we are doing the same dynamic IP import method. We have not changed anything. Okay, but instead of under dynamic IP import method, instead of going with the interfaces, we are going with the translated address. So as I said earlier, when we'll go here is, say for example, if the limitation of having your interface IP as your translation IP is you have only one IP address, right? So though you're doing a pat, right, the port address translation, you can have, you can achieve only around some 63K of sessions, because beyond that it cannot process with one IP address. It will be exhausted, right? So in order to accommodate more session, if you want to have a more session beyond 63K live concurrent sessions, then in that case it's good to always have a multiple IP addresses here, and as it is a dynamic, it would take any available free IP as a translation IP. I can add any IP here, as like maybe I'll just go with 172.16.0.15, right? So I'll just put 150. 150 as one of the translation IP, and 172.16.0.151 and 172.16.0.153. Like that, you can have multiple IP address. All right. So basically, I just added only 3 addresses. Okay. Okay, there is an error here. Instead of dot, I have given comma. So that's the reason it's not allowing me to click OK. All right. So this is one of the good feature. If you have given any syntax error or something like that, it will never give you option to proceed. All right. So if you see, I have, instead of putting dot, by mistake, I have given comma. Okay. But this option is faded. All right. Now let me click OK and commit the changes. So once it's committed, what will happen if you initiate again the traffic from any of the device? Maybe this device is also fine. If you initiate now, the translation IP will be 172.16, either of that three IP that we have given, right? 172.16.0.150 to 153. So it will take any among the three IPs as the translation IP. All right. Let's see that. So it's in progress. Let's wait for a couple of seconds. It's almost done. All right. Fine. It's successfully committed. Let's go back here, and as earlier, let's capture it. Let me capture ETH1/1 means this site traffic, as well as I need to capture 1/2. All right, it's loading. That's fine. I'll just minimize it. Again, I click capture 1/2. All right, let it. I'll minimize it. So this time, maybe let's go to this PC. Okay, because last time we tried with this one, right? So now we are in PC2, which has IP address 10.10.10.12. Okay. Maybe if you want, I can just enlarge it. IP config. If you see, it is having an IP 10.10.10.12. All right. So if I try to ping 172.16.0.15, we are getting response. So basically, we were able to connect to it. Even this time, the translation would have happened, and it might be taken any of the three IP as the translation IP. Okay, maybe I'll just go to my browser also. So here again, 172. All right. 172.16.0.15. So I'm getting response from the web server, all right, which is in the DMZ zone. So it's working as per our requirement. Let's go back to our capture and check whether there is a translation, all right, as per our requirement. Now let me go to my capture. So first we have initiated ICMP, right? Maybe I just filter with ICMP. So this is the capture that's taken on the ETH1/1, which is the client to Palo Alto. All right. If you see, the source is 10.10.10.12 and the destination is 172.16.0.15. This is the actual IP address, and all the transactions having the same IP address. So means that we, as expected, we are not seeing any changes in this particular transaction. However, if we look on the other capture, this side, the capture which is taken on ETH1/2, the IP address of the source would be changed. However, destination would remain still the same. I'll go back here. ICMP. See, if I see the ICMP, it's telling my source address is 172.16.0.150. So the source actual source address is 10.10.10.12. It is NATed to IP 172.16.0.50. right? If you remember last time when we are using interface based translation, so it was translated to the interface IP, right? But this time we have created a group and we have added a three IP address, right? 172.16.0, 150, 152, I think. So it's taking one among them, all right? So this is how the source address is getting translated. And also it's not only with the ICMP, also if you go to the other transactions like the TCP. Okay, maybe I'll just follow the stream. Okay, see, uh, starting from the TCP three-way handshake, right? Since SYNAC acknowledgement, there was a TCP three-way handshake. But if you see the source address, it's mentioned as like 172.16.0.150, which is the translation IP that we have configured in the Palo Alto firewall. Okay, can you correlate it? Also, maybe for a better understanding, I can just go here. So this is the capture that's taken on Palo Alto interface, right? 1/1. Okay. Um, maybe I'll just, okay. So if you see here, this is the actual request that's going from the client towards the Palo Alto. So that means if you see, right, the client is initiating a SYN to the Palo Alto, and we are getting a SYN acknowledgement from the Palo Alto to the client, and again client is acknowledging to it. Okay, so the three-way handshake is happening successfully, and post to that, the client is initiating a get, right? Get method using HTTP 1.1. Okay, so if you see the same capture which is taken on the interface 1/2, means everything seems to be the same. However, if you look on the source address, right, instead of 10.10.10.12, you'll be seeing the translated IP which we have created in the group, right? We'll go here, see. So it is the same, means basically this is the connectivity from Palo Alto to the server, right? The server in the DMZ zone. So it is initiating the SYNAC acknowledgement, three-way handshake is happening, and post to that Palo Alto is requesting for the get message to the server. Everything is fine, but if you see the source address, it is NATed. So this is what source NAT. Okay. And in this video, we understood about dynamic IP endport. And under dynamic IP endport, there are two methods. One is using interface IP itself as the translation IP, and the other method is to use a pool of address, right? So I'll just close this capture. So I'll go back here. So this is the pool that we have created. All right, fine.